Hi everyone, it is Kate from The Fold Line and I am back this week to talk to you about the sewing bee. Well, you may have noticed my location has changed and I'm sorry if it's a little bit echoey in here. I moved house last week and I am now in a whole world of boxes. So I'm sitting in my living room with not a lot of furniture, but here to talk to you about the sewing bee. So if you have not seen this week's episode, which was on upcycling, don't watch any further because we definitely provide some spoilers. So go and watch the show and then come back and watch this because we are pairing patterns to stuff that we've seen in the show. So this week, upcycling week, I really liked the premise for this actually. I thought it was quite interesting. It very much is in Patrick Grant's sort of vibe with his community clothing and reusing and recycling, which we should do, and yeah, it was a really interesting week. So I'm going to start with the first challenge, which was a Paseo Blouse pattern which they had to make using old items of clothing. I really liked the way they all sort of mix and matched them all together, and I've got the perfect pattern. It was very easy, it was lovely when you see it and you know exactly what it is. So the pattern I've got for you is the Sew Over It Paseo Blouse. This comes in sizes, sorry my laptop is here, comes in sizes 8 to 20 and is available on the online shop. This was almost spot on, I have to say. It had all the little details. It had the kind of dramatic tie at the front. It's got little cuffs and kind of gathered sleeves into the cuff. It's got a little poof on the shoulder, so yeah, it was pretty close, I have to say, and I've actually made this before and it's quite an easy pattern to do. So if you're feeling like you want to up your sewing game, this is a really nice kind of blouse to make because there aren't really too many finishings apart from the little cuff. So yeah, it's a good one to make. So I was very pleased with that. It was very easy for us. Next up was the upcycling challenge. So this was slightly trickier. So they were given, in this challenge they were given, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, all the scraps of fabric that they've used in the series so far. So basically your fabric stash kind of coming back to haunt you. So yeah, they had to make something out of kind of scraps of fabric that they'd thrown in the bin. So I'm only going to include a few of these because some of them, as you will have seen, were quite wiggity wild. So the first pattern that I thought was quite an easy match was Mercedes, who actually came bottom this week in this challenge, and she had made this sort of ruffly top kind of dress. It had like a double ruffle, which was quite full on. So I found one which is not exactly perfect, but I think if you did a bit of tweaking you could make it good. So it's the Hippie Dress and top from Vanessa Pouzet. It comes in sizes 6 to 20 and isn't available on the online shop. It's actually a very simple top to make. It's got a lovely bit of elastic. It's elasticated round here. You've got ties over the top which you tie, so really you could whip this up pretty quickly actually. I think it's a really, really lovely pattern, and I know a lot of people have made it in the summer. You could totally also, I don't know if there's a version of it, but you could totally make this into a dress as well. You just extend it if you wanted and it'd be a really nice summer dress. So the next one I have got, so there was, I think it was Jen, who did a panelled sort of A-line skirt, kind of wrap skirt, and she sewed strips of coloured fabric together and then made this sort of wrap skirt. So the pattern that I found I thought was pretty close actually was the Ariel skirt from Tilly and the Buttons. This comes in sizes 6 to 20 and is available on the online shop. The only difference is that Tilly's one has buttons all the way down, and I thought you could just, if you wanted, you could just add one button at the top. Or you might need to make a bit, actually, if you have one button at the top, you definitely need to extend a bit underneath, otherwise you'll be flashing a lot. But yeah, I thought this one was quite close, and I really like the shape of this. It's a really nice, classic sort of skirt. If you haven't seen it before, it comes in 2 different lengths as well, so you can make it sort of shorter, which was similar to Jen's, or you can have it down on the knee. And I really like the sort of asymmetric buttons that go down the side. The last one was Oh, who was it? This is bad that I can't remember. I think it was Juliet. Yes, it was Juliet. So she made this sort of bikini top with a rah-rah skirt, and I found this really good bikini pattern and I thought it would be perfect because it's almost the same. You just would need to extend the ruffle to make it closer to hers. So it's the McCall's 7168. This comes in sizes 6 to 22 and isn't available on the online shop. But yeah, I just thought it was a really cute little bikini pattern. It's definitely got a real vintage feel, so if you're looking for a vintage bikini, this is a really lovely one to start with. It's got that really nice high-waisted pant, but the top, yeah, was very similar to the one that Juliet made, so I thought we'd include that. So, last but definitely not least, they got a bit of on trap on us all, and they had to create an item using an old pair of curtains. And I really loved this challenge. I thought it was really... I like that they got to go and source the material themselves and bring it in. I was expecting that they were just going to be provided with some, so I really thought that was really nice. So I'm going to start with Juliet again, because she was star maker this week and her dress was absolutely beautiful. She was using a net curtain with a different colour fabric underlay, which I thought was so beautiful and really clever. So pattern wise, this was quite easy for us. I think the closest pattern is the Flora dress from By Hand London. This comes in sizes 6 to 20 and is available on the online shop. So the dress had this really beautiful kind of fitted bodice, really tiny little straps, but it had that interesting sort of straight neckline. It also had a dropped hem, which the Flora dress has, so it's shorter at the front and longer at the back. Juliet made the thing that she did at the back. She kind of tweaked it a bit at the back and had this sort of crossover ribbon as a really lovely detail, and it was quite low cut at the back, which I think looks beautiful, and you could definitely tweak the pattern a bit to make it like this. But yeah, I loved this and I thought this was almost bang on as a pattern search. So next up we have got this one, Rachel, who also, I must say, like when I come to you with all these patterns the next day, it's not just me searching for them, it's me and Rachel. We both spend the evening hunting down patterns, and Rachel absolutely nailed it this week. So she found Ricardo, who loves using vintage patterns, which makes it very tricky for us to hunt, but Rachel has found the actual pattern that he used. It's the Vogue 1483. It's out of print, but I will pop a link to a website that we found that has it on. I think it shows you pattern places that you can actually buy it if you're interested to. So yeah, it had this really interesting, if you saw the program, really interesting little kind of turned down collar, really 50s, kind of late 50s, early 60s. I thought it was really beautiful and really interesting shape. And I really wasn't sure about the fabric he was using for it, but actually it worked perfectly. It looked really chic and actually made it look quite modern. It's interesting that he had a really old pattern and quite an old-fashioned fabric, and the mix of the two made it look really modern. So yeah, I thought that was Rachel. Well done, Rachel. Absolutely nailed it. So next up we've got, I think this one, sorry, I'm looking at my laptop here. We've got Leah's dress. So she made that stripy dress, which was out of, I think, a blind that her godmother had given her. And we found a really good match. So we got the New Look 6341. This comes in sizes 6 to 18 and isn't available on the online shop. I thought this was very similar. It has princess seams at the front. It's got pleating, which Leah had going all the way around. This version comes with lots of different options, so you can add sleeves and have it sleeveless, which is how Leah had it. But I thought this was a very close pattern and actually would work. I mean, yeah, I have to say Leah made it very hard for herself with all those stripes. I felt really sorry for her. I'm sure you guys, well, I've definitely been there where I've got halfway through and thought, why did I use this fabric to make it so difficult for myself? Next up we have got, so this was Jen's sort of day dress. So this had sort of princess seams and these sort of big kind of dramatic patch pockets. And I found one that was quite close, not perfect, I have to say, but kind of getting there. It's the Simplicity 1080. It comes in sizes extra small to extra large, so you'll have to look at the kind of finished garment measurements to see if it works. But it's got these two, it's a very simple sort of shift kind of A-line dress shape, quite relaxed fit. It's got, Jen's version had princess seams, but this has got sort of darting in the front and then these nice ties that you can use to tie it at the back. And it also comes with these kind of dramatic patch pockets on the front. So I thought that was quite a close one. Not perfect, but definitely kind of on the way. Right, so what have we got next? We've got last but definitely not least. Oh yes, this was, was it Janet? Yes, Janet had that sort of really beautiful kind of 50s shape with the sort of off the shoulder look. The thing that was quite interesting about this and hard when I was hunting for it is it has a seam down the centre front, which means that you can get the cut of it sitting off the shoulder. This was virtually impossible to find. I really struggled, so I would love to know which pattern she actually used. So we've got one that's pretty close. It's the Kendra dress from Alice and Anne. It comes in sizes 0 to 20 and isn't available on the online shop. So it's got the all-important seam down the centre front. It's got big sort of box pleats on the skirt panel, which was featured in the show. The difference about this is it's got, which actually I have to say is better for fitting, is it's got princess seams and a seam just below the sort of empire line seam just below the bust, and then the dress forms these quite dramatic kind of pleats which can then kind of go out to make kind of quite a big kind of flared skirt. It's actually a really lovely pattern. Having looking at it, it's quite unusual. I haven't seen anything like this, so they're definitely worth having a look at this pattern. So yeah. Right, so that is it from me this week. I will pop links to all the patterns featured below, and I'll pop a link to a blog post where all the patterns are so you can go and have a proper read. And Rachel does that side of it, so she'll be adding a few extra patterns in there that aren't mentioned in the video, I think, too. Right, so I will be back soon, and hopefully back maybe in my sewing room. I might even have a spotty wall if you're lucky. See you soon, bye!